Today on the show, we're talking about rejection because your girl has had a life experience of rejection. And if you have been chasing perfectionism, then you actually have been trying to prevent rejection. Perfectionism is rejection prevention. It's the way that our brain and our mind tries to avoid the pain and the emotional trauma of feeling the not enoughness. And the eating disorder that you may have developed over time, it offers this illusion of protection and it gives you that false comfort. Friend, today I want to dissect rejection. I want to talk about my rejection story or some of the examples of rejection in my life. I'm going to share a special story with you in hopes that you will meet me there, in hopes that you will find yourself in this place, because the truth is that if we can look at our rejection, we can create it into our redemption. Yes, your rejection story can be your redemption story. It can be the transformation. You can use the pain over all the years of your rejection to elevate you and take that and to give you power as you move forward and embrace the imperfect mess that you are. All right, friend, let's get to it. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. I can still remember the day that I was doing dance conditioning for skating practice. I was standing in front of a mirrored wall, watching everyone else move effortlessly. For years, dance and skating had been my joy, my escape, my way of feeling free. But something shifted. Get in line by size, the voice shouted out. You see, it was a simple request that suddenly felt like a spotlight. Everyone shuffled around me, and I felt myself hesitate, unsure of where I belonged in the line. When I heard a voice say, "Not here," from the girl next to me. Then others started to create a gap that I wasn't meant to fill. You see, the rest of practice felt like a blur. Every movement that used to feel like freedom now felt like judgment, and every glance at myself became an exercise in comparison. You see, the joy of what I once loved began to fade beneath the weight of feeling like I didn't fit in. The next week, I told my parents I had a stomach ache and I couldn't go. And the week after that, I said just too much homework. But soon, excuses started becoming permanent and my once dream started becoming less near. I stopped loving it as much that day and started changing what it was that I was eating. This is when I began the exhausting project of trying to shrink myself to fit into spaces that I had been rejected from. The irony, friend, is that in trying to protect yourself from rejection, you begin rejecting parts of yourself, of movement and the things that you enjoy. You begin rejecting activities that bring you that joy. You begin rejecting nourishment and rest, and eventually connection with people that you cherished. The eating disorder promises everything. It promises to fix everything. It promises that everyone will like you and will accept you. And it even promises to fix any future rejection. But the only real thing that it does do is lead to the deepest rejection of all, and that's rejecting your own worthiness. Today, instead of hearing those moments, you're not allowed here. I want you to recognize that's just an old wound, and it's not a current truth. So whatever story that you've been replaying on repeat, I want to give you inspiration today that you can learn to take up space. You can learn to feel free again, and you can learn to reject the rejection that was never yours to carry. Early experiences and development, whether it's unspoken family rules about feelings, about being vulnerable, or a story like this, can shape your relationship with safety. Because sis, you really want to be seen, you want to be heard, and you just want to be loved. And rejection triggers survival mechanisms. So when you don't feel seen and you don't feel heard and you don't feel loved, you will try to go to all the ends of the earth to find ways to compensate. You will people please, you will create a perfect exterior, you will create a false sense of safety that gives you personal control. But protection strategies are the brain's response to feel safe. Maybe this for you is numbing emotional pain and rejection through restricting your food intake, or creating physical armor through body changes and weight manipulation. Maybe it's using food rituals as predictable comfort, or turning inward to fix things that don't even need fixing. I remember feeling like my body was going to be my biggest project because something must be wrong with me. So what I wanted to do in today's episode is talk to you about my own rejection, because it's something that even today, if I'm completely transparent, I deal with regularly and have to check myself and coach myself on. I think it's so important you bring out what are those rejection stories, just like the one that I shared with you today. So what is one of yours? Understanding these stories is a powerful thing, because then you can honor how you got to this place and you can start reinventing your life. Some examples of rejection in my life is when my dad worked a lot when I was a little girl. I felt rejected. When I fought to be popular at school because I was the tomboy, I felt rejected. When my boyfriend dumped me, I felt rejected. When I didn't get into the college that I longed for after applying to 7 only to get turned down by the exact one that I wanted, I felt rejected. When Disney on Ice told me, nope, you got to lose 10 pounds, I felt rejected. And when my corporate promotion that I worked so hard for didn't come to light, I felt rejected. When my boyfriend in college fell out of love with me, I felt rejected. And when my best friend since 3 years old pulled out of my wedding 2 weeks before the big day, you better believe I felt rejected. Even when my parents divorced in my 30s, I felt rejected. But realize this, sis, no one needs to like you but you. And the cycle of fear of rejection, it actually leads to false control, which leads to isolation, because then you go down the path of those negative food behaviors that are controlling your life. And then that isolation, it reinforces the rejection fears, which in turn prevent you from being seen, from being heard, and being loved. It's important that you look for consistency in moving forward and embracing imperfect progress. In being vulnerable in this episode with you, I wanted to share some of my rejection periods in my life, because I realized rejection is God's protection, and I continue to tell myself that when I'm going through periods of rejection. Rejection is His redirection in your life and in my life. It is His change of course for you. It is His change of path for you. Because sis, if those doors had stayed open, what would you have missed? And I think about that all the time. Like, if I had actually gone and done my skating dream, what would I have missed out on now? I probably wouldn't even have my husband or my kids. What would I have missed? And what would you have missed? Rejection is nothing more than a necessary step in the pursuit of a better path. And when we can start looking at it like that, it becomes the most powerful motivator in your life. Some things for you to try on as you lean into healing rejection that's in your heart is consistently showing up and doing the next right thing and moving forward in your recovery and in your life. And embracing that, yes, it's going to be imperfect, and that progress is progress and it doesn't need to be perfect. That creating new relationships and new relationship patterns are actually for you. That healthy boundaries with yourself matter, and those are what actually create genuine connections. You learn to build self-trust. You learn to trust your body, which and then your body learns to trust you. It's okay if not everyone likes you and has a seat at your table vibes. You learn to sit with uncomfortable emotions. Recovered people, sis, they reject rejection. And so the next time that voice inside of your head tells you you're not good enough, or you can't eat that, or that friend rejects you, or your husband says something painful, I want you to say, so what, says who, and who cares? My most powerful motivator is rejection in my life. And when I'm not for everyone, then I'm for me. It's okay for you to not be for everyone, friend. You are approved by God who created you. and put a seal of worthiness in gold of approval on your birth certificate. You're not rejected, you're redeemed. You're not bad because you fear being rejected or you feel rejection from people in your life. Maybe you just shine a little too bright for someone who couldn't handle it. Rejection, friend, means that you stand for your good and your truth. And so today I just wanted to share with you that your rejection story matters because it can be your redemption story. So as a takeaway from this episode, I would love for you to go down that path in your life. What are some of those moments of rejection that you felt that maybe you need to heal? What are some of your rejection stories? How could you change the way you think about them? If those doors had opened up, if those people had stayed in your life, if those things had happened, would you actually be in a better place than you are now? You see, when we don't feel seen, when we don't feel heard, and when we don't feel loved, we will do anything to try to compensate for that. But friend, you don't need to be perfect. You just need a little grace. For homework today, get your rejection story on paper. And this is not to cause a traumatic experience for you in your life or to be super triggering. This is for you to find freedom in laying it down and forgiving it and for moving on. Because all rejection does is trigger survival mechanisms. And if you're tired of surviving and being stuck in this madness, then it's time to start doing something differently. Friend, I believe in you and I love you. And I encourage you to take this next step. Go out, decide today that you're no longer going to please everybody else. And you're going to start standing in your truth because you so deserve it. All right, girl, I'll see you real soon. Bye for now. Hey, sis, before we go, I want you to know that I have a couple slots available to support you in your recovery journey. Friend, I do not want you to miss out on our current pricing here at Her Best Self Co. On January the 1st, we are going to be increasing our service prices. And friend, you are going to want to get on the list now to partner together to work with us. I'm sending you all the recovery hugs. And if you would like to learn how we can partner together one-on-one to support your recovery journey, go on out to herbestself.co and you can find a client application there. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.